You're planning on traveling to the Komodo Islands in Indonesia. Well, I just went on an epic 3-day sailing adventure and it was a dream come true. In this video, I'm going to share with you everything you need to know to plan your own adventure. Let's go. First of all, how do you get to Komodo? Well, what you want to do is after you've gotten to Bali, enjoyed your time in Bali, take a quick 1-hour flight from the Bali International Airport to the Komodo airport. This is going to be approximately $100 per person, and we booked this a week in advance. So you can probably get a better rate if you book more ahead of time. Next, once you get to the Komodo airport, there's going to be a bunch of taxi booths in the airport. There are only 2 gates. It's a very small airport, and you can get a taxi from one of them to your hotel. It was approximately $4 for us to get to the Siesta Hotel and Hostel. This is the best recommended spot to stay. It's a great budget all the way up to single room option. It's so clean, so lovely, has an incredible rooftop with a beautiful breathtaking sunset view. You can eat dinner there, you can have some drinks, there's a pool, you can play pool. It's a lovely spot to stay. Also, there's a gym and it's just perfect for a hostel. And it would be recommended to go one day before your sailing trip because the flights in Indonesia don't operate like the flights in the rest of the world. They basically get a little bit delayed starting in the morning and then just the delays bump all throughout the day. Thank you so much to my friend Susan from Gypsy and Sneakers for the hot tip on this. Basically, it's just a rolling schedule. And so if you fly the day of your sailing excursion, you're likely to miss the excursion. So it's recommended to fly in the day before, stay at this hostel, relax, and get excited for your sailing excursion. How do you explore the Komodo Islands? Sail. This was such a dream come true because prior to this, I had only ever slept on a boat for a cruise ship. So I had done like day trips on boats and I'd done cruise excursions before where you're on these massive boats, but I'd never slept on like a smaller sailboat type thing. And so I was a little bit worried going into it because I am someone that's a little bit susceptible to motion sickness, but thankfully I was perfectly fine the whole time. That being said though, I did go in the summer months, the dry season, and so we had no rain, the water was perfectly calm, but it was perfectly great. I'll talk more about best time of year to go further on in the video, so be sure to stay tuned. So how do you know what company to choose for this sailing excursion? There are many different options that you could choose from, all the way from really budget options to extreme luxury. We decided to go with family Labuan Bajo Travel and had a great experience. We went for a shared cabin, which was approximately 2.5 million rupiah per person, which is approximately $170. Or if you want a private cabin, it's going to be 500,000 rupiah more, which is like $25 more, and you get a private cabin on the boat. Going with this company felt like honestly like a local homestay type experience. We got to interact with the locals on the boat. There were 10 of us total, and then probably the same amount of crew. Everyone was so kind, respectable, friendly, accommodating, and it really, like, the best way I can describe it is it was like a homestay type experience. It wasn't luxury, it wasn't budget, it was just like simple and had everything that you need. And for me, it felt like a true authentic Indonesia experience because prior to this, I would go to Bali, spend time in Canggu, and that feels like you're in the West, but this really felt authentic. That being said, there are some simple luxuries like not having a sink and the bathroom situation being a little bit different than what you might be used to, but you're on a boat in the middle of the ocean. And so for me, that was all part of the adventure and it was totally fine. So what's included with this company is the pickup and drop off from the airport, snorkeling equipment, the guide, meal during the tour, mineral water, fresh water, and a room with air conditioning, which was nice. I was comfortable the whole time. And even at night, it's recommended to bring a sweater because it gets a little bit breezy. But it was perfectly comfortable and it was great. What this excludes is the Komodo National Park entrance fee, which is approximately $30. That's something that you need to bring cash for. Any personal expenses like souvenirs or things like that you might buy, or like coconuts on the island, alcohol, and your flight tickets to get to the island. So to learn more about them, I recommend checking them out on Instagram. Their Instagram is at Family Labuan Bajo Tour and Travel. How long should you stay? So the average amount of time for the sailing trips is 3 days and 2 nights. That's what we did, and it was perfect. You can do all the way from day trip to a week-long excursion. It just depends what you're looking for and how much time that you have. but be sure to check with the different companies. And something really important as well is to be sure to read the reviews so you can find a trustworthy, legit company to go for your dream sailing adventure with. What time of year should you visit? So the best time to visit the Komodo Islands is during the dry season. This runs from April to December, with the peak time being in July and August. But of course, this is going to be the busiest time as well, as the whole rest of the world is on their summer vacation, or at least the Northern Hemisphere. And so there are going to be a lot of people, but this is the best time to go for the best conditions. This is also the most ideal for outdoor adventures like hiking and snorkeling. However, if you want to avoid the crowds, it's recommended to go in the shoulder season. For a more peaceful visit, the shoulder season is the months of April and May and September. These months typically have good weather, but fewer tourists, which is nice. I went in June and it wasn't that crowded. It was really nice. And some places like the Padar Island view were obviously really, really crowded, even at sunrise. But that's going to be expected with popular places like this. Also, something to note is that classic Padar Island view will be more green or more brown depending on the time of year that you go. So from the winter months, from the rainy season, the rain is what makes the mountain so green. And so don't be surprised if you go in the summer months and it's looking brown or dry. That's because it's in the summer season and it hasn't rained that much. But another benefit of going right after the rainy season, like April, is that it will be very green and hopefully not as much rain for your trip. What should you pack? So I would recommend sun protection since you're out on the water. Please be sure that's reef safe, because the reef in Indonesia, I was so excited to see. The coral is alive and it's vibrant, and you want to make sure to have reef safe sunscreen. And then also your hat and sunglasses and anything else that you need on a boat. Also, a pro tip life hack that Zia taught me about is that bandanas actually have a practical use case. Like, this is why pirates and stuff would wear bandanas, I guess. When you're out on the water and there's just like wind and everything pushing you through, like having the bandana on your head is so amazing for managing your hair. It was just incredible. Like, even for future road trips in the car, like I love driving with the windows open, but sometimes when you have the windows open, your hair goes all over the place and it's just like a mess. But bandanas are basically the hack to that. So would recommend joining the bandana pirate lifestyle. And then also a hack that I've learned recently is bringing peppermint oil for seasickness. Okay, so this has been game changing for me recently. I have been on the search for a cure for motion sickness, and I have it in my purse right here. It's from this brand called Sage, S-A-J-E Natural Wellness. And basically this peppermint roller, what you do is you can keep it in your purse, and if you feel like any sort of motion sickness is coming, you just roll it onto the sides here, your temples, and then put a dot under your nose. I got this at the TED event in April, and I have not felt motion sickness since. Like, no nausea or anything, like, knock on wood. It's been such an incredible hack. It's like a natural remedy to feeling motion sickness. And then also I would recommend C-bands if you are someone that does feel motion sickness. I'd also recommend any tablets you may need, like anti-diarrhea, anti-nausea, Dramamine, stuff like that, just in case, because you are out on the water in the ocean. I would recommend taking cash, power adapters and cords, your passport, swimsuit, snacks, and also check out my packing for Bali video for any other tips you might need. And then, where are the best spots to go? What are the best spots to see? What should you do when you're out sailing the Komodo Islands? So the best things to do are obviously sailing, snorkeling. Some of the tours offer diving, hiking, wildlife, and marine life viewing. There's so much to see and explore. And obviously, from like the snorkeling underwater to seeing all the marine life, and then going to see the actual Komodo dragons, which Komodo National Park is named after. So many memorable, breathtaking experiences await you. This was my #1 experience that I did while traveling to Indonesia. I've spent 2 months total in the past year traveling Indonesia, and this was #1 for me, so I strongly recommend adding it to your list. I will overlay a photo here of the spots that the family Labuan Bajo tour and travel took us on. We went to Kelor Island, Manjarate, Kalong Island to see the flying foxes at sunset. We went overnight around Kalong or Padar Island so that we can go up to Padar Island for sunrise. We specifically requested to go to Padar Island for sunrise because we said it was really important for us to get there early, and they respected that, which was amazing. We were one of the first people up there, so I would definitely recommend telling your boat that that's important for you if that's something that you want to do. It was a 4:30 a.m. wake-up call, but it was so worth it. And then the other spots that you go to on day 2 is Padar Island, Long Beach, which is the pink beach, Komodo Island to see the Komodo dragons, Makassar Reef, and then overnight in Sabita. And then you go to Manta Point to try to see manta rays, and then Siaba and Hanawa, which is just a breathtaking, stunning beach. So much magic to see. And of course, the guides take care of getting you everywhere. Like at a lot of the points when we got to the spots, I didn't even know what was happening. You just show up and you're like, whoa, this is so beautiful. And you're just amazed. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. And then what food to try? What is the food situation like? So every boat tour that you do, every company is going to be different. But ours, again, felt like a really authentic homestay experience. So all of our meals consisted of rice and then fresh caught fish and vegetables. So it was a very authentic Indonesian experience. Again, the food was very fresh and deliciously prepared with all the simple earth-caught ingredients. So overall, I strongly recommend sailing in the Komodo Islands. Definitely has to be a bucket list experience that you make come true. It's such a magical experience. I so strongly recommend it. Hopefully this video was helpful, and be sure to check out my Komodo Islands sailing vlog for all of the adventures. My name is Mahna Ghafori. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next adventure. Bye!